Good morning, ECG 692 students. Thank you for your continued diligence and work during this fall semester, which has gone by very quickly. I want to quickly give you some hints and instructions about your final presentation, which is scheduled on the calendar next week. First of all, for those of you who are in the DeKalb cohort, your presentation is scheduled for the 13th of November at the Virtual Academy in Rainsville, along with others in other programs. For those of you who are not in the DeKalb cohort, your campus presentation here in Ramona Wood Hall is scheduled for November 12th, beginning at 6 p.m. We will have refreshments and food available beginning around 5 o'clock, so you're welcome to come and imbibe in that. Secondly, for those in the DeKalb cohort or those who are spread across Alabama and Georgia in this class, if you are collaborating with another person or group on a common project in this action research class, you may, of course, speak as a group with one PowerPoint presentation and shared time in your presentation. You will be scored and judged accordingly. If you are a solitary researcher, then you will have your PowerPoint and address the group that may be there on the assigned time. Let me talk about the PowerPoint presentation. First of all, and I'm going to be as blunt as I possibly can so that you will understand what I am speaking of. We do not need to be read to. Do not read to us as you make your presentation. You know more about this project than anyone else does, and so you should be able to speak off the cuff about your project. The purpose of your PowerPoint slides is to just remind you of the subject matter and the flow of what you want to talk about. Use brief bullets and phrases and an organizational outline on your PowerPoint slides that just gives you enough information to communicate what you're talking about by subject and to prompt your own memory and to guide your own discussion. In terms of the slides themselves, the general rule is never use any font less than 20 point. Being a person who's blind just about and cannot see well, I say make your font as large as you can, up to 30 or 40 actually. I kind of have a minimum in my own presentations of using 28 to 30 font whenever possible. One of the things I do not want to see is small font, small print that no one could read even if they were trying to, and it's just verbatim pieces of a literature review or an article or something like that. No reason to put that on a PowerPoint presentation. So use your PowerPoint to guide your prompt, to be your prompt for your thinking as you go through your presentation. Again, remember that you know your project and you're to communicate your work with those who are in attendance. Also, let me say that you need to remember that you're speaking to an uninitiated, uninformed group. Do not use acronyms or abbreviations or things like that and expect that your hearers or viewers will know what that means. Consider that your audience is uninitiated and you are trying to inform them about your research project. Therefore, you want to do it very clearly, very specifically, very precisely, and with that in mind that you're presenting information to others that others have not had the benefit of knowing anything about. That's very important. You need to dress professionally. This is a professional presentation and should be considered as such. I'm not saying that a shirt and tie is necessary for men or any particular kind of dress for ladies, but I do suggest that you consider that this is a professional presentation and you need to dress appropriately and accordingly. Also, if you want to have handouts, that is up to you. They are not required in this particular course of study or action research. You may provide a handout if you so desire. You also need to remember that you need to keep your presentation, I'm going to suggest, between 15 and 18 minutes, no more than 20 minutes. And that will allow also for interruptions for people to ask questions or seek clarification. And you need to be relaxed and just be yourself. And remember, you're the professional, you're the educator, this is your project. Just tell the people what you have done, what your data suggests, and what you're going to do with it, and what kind of difference it's made in your place of work, your school, or your agency itself. Also, on your PowerPoint itself, make sure that you have a good background and your font colors are very clearly distinguishable. If you want to go onto the ADA website and look at what is required by ADA, the American Disabilities Act, then they will make suggestions to you of colors for backgrounds and colors for fonts that are appropriate. I say use common sense there. Don't use a dark blue and a light blue. Don't use a red and a black, a red background and a black font. For people who are visually impaired, that's not enough contrast to be able to see. Certainly you can use pictures if you have any, or drawings or illustrations or tables or anything like that, as long as they're visible and people are able to see them. Otherwise, why have them there? You might want to include that in a handout. So I'm looking forward to these presentations. I am working on your drafts. I will give you feedback. It may be a few days. And just remember, as I say in the email, you are not going to be responsible for having a fully edited paper done by next week. I will give you a little bit longer than that. If you have any questions, be sure to respond to this email, and I'll be glad to respond directly to you individually or to the whole group if I feel like that is necessary. So thank you again for your work and successful, in my opinion thus far, your projects. And look forward to meeting with you either Tuesday on campus or Wednesday at the DeKalb Virtual Learning Center in Rainsville.